So if it's not one thing, it's something else. So last night, if you didn't catch my short that I made last night, I yeah, got into a little bit of a fender bender. And fender bender is putting it lightly. I was going to drop my daughter off to a friend's house for a sleepover, and was going about 45 miles per hour down just on the outskirts of town. It was about 8:30, 8:45 at night. So it's summertime, so it was right after the sun had gone down. And living in Maine, that's like one of one of the most not dangerous times to be driving at night to be driving, but it's one of those times where you have to really be paying attention because Maine has a very high population of deer. And yeah, lo and behold, so I'm going about 45 miles per hour, and there's high brush on both sides of the road, and it hasn't been cleared. It's the middle of summer, so it's very dense. And before before I can do anything, just a doe, female deer jumps out in front of. I have a Chevy Equinox, or did, and jumps out probably 10, 10, maybe 12 yards in front of me. And good sized doe too. It was probably pushing 150, 160. I mean, it was a good sized deer. And yeah, I slam on the brakes, and by the time I hit it, I was probably doing maybe 25, maybe 30 miles per hour. But what you have to remember in a situation like that is it's better to hit the animal than it is to try to veer off to the side. Because when you're in a situation like that, your adrenaline is pumping and you get that tunnel vision, right? And so all you see is the animal that's right in front of you. So you're not paying attention to what's on either side of the road. You're not paying attention to whether or not there's a vehicle coming in the other direction. You're not paying attention to see if there's an opening on the breakdown lane, or even if there is a breakdown lane. Because even if you're aware of those before the you see the deer in the road, or the animal, or whatever, when it's right there in front of you, it just all of that, you forget about that and you just react. And so I slam on the brakes, but yeah, I was still going a good clip, and ended up smashing into it, and it obliterated my front grille. So getting to that, so I hit it, and then I see it hit the ground, and then so I swerve into the breakdown lane a little bit to get around it. And I knew the car was just, it was not doing well. So I pull off into a side road, and I could see steam or smoke, steam billowing out from underneath the hood. So I knew the car was trashed. I mean, I knew it was done. So managed to get into the side road, and I get out, and the deer is still laying in the road, and it's kind of flopping around a little bit, and then it was still. So I thought, maybe it was dead, but lo and behold, another minute later or so, it jumps up on its feet and then takes off into the woods. So I'm sure it has probably some internal injury, probably some broken ribs or something, probably a hell of a headache, but yeah, apparently it was fine. So so anyway, so I get off to the side of the road, and I call 911, let them know I was in an accident. And they come out, the fire truck comes out, and they ask if there's any fluids underneath the car. And I'd noticed that there is, it looks like it's leaking something, and it smashed in the radiator. So I'm assuming it's some kind of radiator fluid that's leaking. So they put down the speedy dry. Cop came out, took my statement. The girls were fine. Everything was perfectly fine, or for us, um, everybody was wearing their seatbelts and buckled in, and nobody got hurt. And that's really what it comes down to, is that nobody got hurt. Everybody was okay. Car is a little worse for wear, but I'll put some pictures up. And yeah, so it's probably going to be totaled. The trucker, the wrecker that came out and towed it away, he took a look at it. He looked at it for like 5 seconds, and he said, "Oh well, it could be repairable. You don't really know, but looking at it, it could be." Okay, we'll see. Because the way that it buckled my driver's side fender and everything, I mean, I would be shocked if there wasn't some kind of frame damage. So so he got it towed off, and I got a ride back to the house. And we'll see what Monday brings, because they'll take a look at it. They'll give me a diagnosis of whether or not it's salvageable or not. But again, the important thing is that nobody got hurt, everybody's okay, and luckily I do have a second vehicle that I can drive back and forth to work. Um, which it's just a bummer, because I had that car for literally 2 months. Like I barely even had it, and in all the years I've lived in Maine, I've had a couple of close calls before with deer in the road, but usually you can avoid them. Usually I see them often, they're in a field, and you can react with enough time. But this is the first time it was like out of a movie. Like, this is the first time I've ever seen that actually happen, where it just no time to react, just jumps straight out in front of you, and it just couldn't have been more perfect of an impact, straight in front of the car, right on the grill. Like, just yeah. I think some of those pictures actually show a little bit of a little bit of deer hair caught on the radiator. So, oh, it just stinks, because it was an older vehicle. I'm not a car guy. I don't really care about having a new vehicle. My truck is going on 15 years old now, though. So, I put a lot of money into it at the end of last year to get it fixed up and a bit more roadworthy, because using it as a daily driver back and forth to work, using it to cart around the kids and camping trips and all of that jazz. It's just getting up there in age. So I wanted to get something that was at least in a newer condition. So I bought that one for my grandparents, and it only had 30,000 miles on it, so it's practically brand new. Practically brand new anyway. It was a 2019 Chevy Equinox, so it just a total bummer, man. So now begins the whole process of negotiating with insurance, and hopefully they cover everything. I mean, they should. I don't know why they wouldn't, but I don't know if they'll end up writing it off as a total loss, or if they're going to try to cover cost of repair. I don't care one way or another. I just want. I mean, that's why you pay for insurance, right? And I mean, insurance in most times can feel like a total scam, but this is how insurance is supposed to work. So, knock on wood, this actually this actually is you know, a positive experience with insurance. So, so anyway, that's kind of the update for today. So I'm actually going to spend an hour or so this afternoon cleaning out the truck. I still have the snow tires on it, because I just never bothered to change them, because I bought the Equinox at the end of winter, and the truck has basically been parked for the last 2 months. I started up on the weekends, make sure that the battery stays charged, and getting fuel for the fuel lines and everything. But yeah, for the most part, it's been sitting here. So time to clean it up, get the dust off, and yeah, and start the paperwork process. So yeah, so if you live in the Northeast, or you live in any place where there's a potential for animal collision, always keep your head on a swivel. Avoid the distracted driving. Don't be paying attention to the radio and the phone and all that stuff. Keep your eyes on the road. Always stay buckled. That's what is it? The highest occurrence of accidents are within 5 miles of the home. So stay buckled, even if you're just going around the corner to go to the grocery store. You never know. So, all right. Until the next one. Peace.